Hello everybody, I'm former WWE superstar Eugene, and today we're going to talk about one of the wildest episodes of Monday Night Raw ever. Plus I've got never before heard stories, so stick around to the end of this video. July 5th, 2004, Monday Night Raw was in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and Eugene was the general manager for one night.
Eugene is the acting general manager here tonight.
Now, the whole story behind this is that Eric Bischoff was on vacation. I don't know exactly what Eric Bischoff was doing, but he did take the day off. The show opened, and there's a host of WWE superstars in the ring, and nobody knows why they're there. And then out comes the 16-time World Heavyweight Champion, Ric Flair, noticeably upset. A little bit not sure why he's there either. And then the music hits for the next contestant, and that would be Winnipeg's own Chris Jericho. When Jericho came out, that crowd exploded.
Standing ovation for Winnipeg's own.
And it was absolute pandemonium, as they used to say. Jericho's absolutely one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Good friend of mine. I like Jericho, but that night, he was on top. Winnipeg wanted to see Jericho do something special, and something special he was going to do. Now, Eugene comes out with his sports jacket and hanky on top of course, my ring jacket and shirt, so I was boiling hot out there. But regardless, I had to look good as the general manager. So the first order of business for Eugene as general manager is to find the #1 contender for Randy Orton's Intercontinental title.
Who wants to see a championship match tonight?
Eugene decided to do it in probably one of the most competitive, exciting matches that has ever been placed on Monday Night Raw, and that is musical chairs. Of course, Eugene pulls out musical chairs. Now, in case everybody doesn't know, musical chairs has a series of contestants, and then it has one less chair than number of contestants. And the music starts, and everybody dances around the chairs. And when the music stops, everybody sits down. Whoever doesn't have a chair, whoever can't sit down, is out. Pretty simple, right? The music starts, and none of the WWE superstars really want to be participating in Eugene's silly games of musical chairs, except, of course, for Stacy Keibler, who starts dancing and prancing around.
And this is we're playing right now, Stacy.
Thank you, Stacy. At least somebody's playing along. And then, of course, when Stacy Keibler takes off and starts dancing around the chairs, Jerry the King Lawler is going to follow her right away. So they're both dancing around. The music stops. They both sit down. And there was a moment where all the WWE superstars that were left were like, I'm not playing this. I don't want to be a part of this musical chairs. And then they mad dash and everybody sits down at the same time, except for one. My good friend Tajiri didn't make it. He missed the chair. He fell out. He was out. But then again, I got to think, I don't even know if they have musical chairs in Japan. Did he even really know what was going on? Did he understand the rules? I mean, can we hold it against Tajiri if he didn't understand the rules of musical chairs? But regardless, in Winnipeg, he was out. And Coach laughed at him. Jonathan Coachman, I remember Coach is such one of the best heels I've ever seen in the ring. Just everybody dislikes Coach across the board. And there he's laughing at Tajiri right there. So what does Tajiri do? Spits the green mist right in his face. Coach had this yellow shirt on, and the green mist just looked so bright on his face and on his shirt. And they start the music again, and there's Coach just doing the absolute best. Can't find his way around because he's got the green mist blinding him. And he's going up and down, and everybody's dancing around. The music stops, and Coach sits down on absolutely nothing. There was no chair there, and then he was out. I really think that Eugene's a musical chair match should happen every year, and someone should win something like a Money in the Bank suitcase so they can get a title shot. I don't know. Put it in the comments if you guys think the same thing, but absolutely, without a doubt, musical chairs should be every year, and Eugene should be right there to host it. So the music starts again, everybody's dancing around, and of course the music stops. Stacy sits down, and Jerry the King Lawler sits on her lap. One of the funniest, everybody laughs, ha ha, and then King, of course, gets her up and sets her on his lap, but King was out. Now, King's also one of my favorites. Growing up in Louisville, Kentucky area, watching USWA, the King's absolutely one of my favorites, but he was out in musical chairs. But that got him quickly back to the commentator's booth where he could call the match, because that's exactly where we want the King. He's one of the best. Music starts again. Everybody takes off around the thing, and Flair starts getting into it. The coat's off. The Flair strut starts. He's dancing around. Woo, woo. Music stops, and that no good son of a gun, the dirtiest player in the game, what's he do? he pushes Stacy Keibler down and out of the way so he can sit down. Stacy's out. Now, the first question in my mind is, what title would Stacy have been going after? Because I don't know that Eugene necessarily was going to put her against Randy Orton for the Intercontinental title, but irregardless, Stacy was out. The music starts again. But it was quick. Flair was off dancing. This is one of those ones that if you've ever played musical chairs, you know the guy that switches the music, the DJ or whoever it is. He lets it play on one round, and the next one he starts it, and real quick he switches it out. So everybody's got a quick go, and Flair wasn't ready. He was off dancing, having a good time, and the music stops, and Flair was out, and boy, was he upset. Flair throwing a fit over being out on musical chairs. I mean, if you look back on Flair's career, on his history, would you ever think that he would get so upset about not being able to participate in musical chairs? I don't know. Music starts again. The last two were Jericho and Tyson Tomko. And the crowd is screaming, Y2J, Y2J. And they're pursuing each other almost like two predators looking at one another, just going around these chairs like this. The music stops. Tomko goes for the big sit down, and Jericho pulls the chair out from under him. Bam! Tomko gets up. Jericho hits him in the stomach, because I don't think we were doing headshots then with the chair. Tomko sells away. Jericho puts the chair down, and the people wanted it. They knew it was coming. They saw it in front of them, and Jericho slowly sits down in the chair, folds his arm, and wins the musical chairs. The first ever winner of what could be an every year musical chairs by Eugene, but the first one ever was Y2J right there in Winnipeg, his hometown, and he was going to get a shot at Randy Orton's Intercontinental title. Oh my gosh, this was the first segment on Raw with Eugene as the GM. Where were we going to go from here? Let's take everybody behind the scenes of what was going on, and I really didn't find out this first thing until much later, but Jericho was a little not upset with the fact that he had to do musical chairs, but for lack of a better term, I'm going to say he was upset. I don't know if he vocally said that to the writing staff or to Vince or anyone, but he had told me that a couple years later that he didn't want to do the musical chairs, that he felt like it was an insult to his career because he felt like he should have had some hard-hitting, knockdown, drag-out, fight, hard wrestling match with someone like a Chris Benoit or maybe even an Edge right there in Winnipeg, his homecoming, and he wanted to have, a 5-star match that people would remember forever, and they put him in musical chairs. And I think he was a little like, taken aback, off put, whatever the word is, but he did it, and it came out great. But when he told me much years later that he felt that way initially, that as years passed, so many people have come to him saying that was one of their favorite moments of Chris Jericho was in the musical chairs. That was one of the most entertaining moments that Chris Jericho had in his career. That was, one of the fans of Chris Jericho's favorite moments was him in the musical chairs in Winnipeg, that he realized that, this was a good segment. This was a great segment. And he, going forward, he was like, he was really proud of it, but it became a full, 180, 360, 540, 910, whatever, back around and back at you again, that he really, became to love that segment because the fans loved it. And it just goes to show you that, you can have a hard-hitting wrestling match, but the fans want to be entertained. And if you give them something entertaining that they'll love, they'll remember you forever, because the fans, remember this right here. This is the takeaway right here. The fans will always remember how you made them feel. Chris Jericho, Eugene, musical chairs helped the fans feel awesome that night. And without a doubt, that was a highlight, in my opinion, in Chris Jericho's career. I hope he feels the same. If you haven't seen my previous episodes detailing the evolution of the Eugene character, please feel free to check them out here.